You think you're being feminine because you're giving. You're nurturing, you're soft, and you're doing everything to keep the relationship working. But the truth is, that's masculine energy in disguise. You're leading the emotional load. You're leading the relationship. You're carrying the responsibility of that relationship. And a man, especially a masculine man, a man whose masculine instinct is online, he can feel this, even if he's not able to communicate what's going on. He knows. And he's not attracted to it. He's actually repelled by it. And what you're doing by being in this masculine energy, by being in this role, is you're unintentionally, of course, sabotaging the relationship and pushing away the very love and the very leadership that you need and that you crave from him. You're only doing what you believe works to receive love, but it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. And there's a much, much better way to get the love and the care that you need and deserve by you doing far less, putting much less energy into the relationship. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So hello, my name is Zach Rohde. I am here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you've not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below, hit the notification bell, and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you. So, this is something that I see all the time. I've experienced it in my own love life back when I was single and dating different women, and I see it with my academy students, my clients that I now work with in my program. And this is women who are, there's a range, but we can call these women soft, right? They're soft, you're giving, you're nurturing, right? You're affectionate, you care, and you find yourself in the role of leading certain aspects of the relationship that you really don't want to lead and really shouldn't be leading. Most commonly, this is going to be leading the emotional stuff, like when there are problems, leading towards emotional intimacy, let's call it, leading towards resolving problems, coming to your man when things are not going properly. This can also involve being the one, sometimes being the one that's giving affection, being the one that is giving acts of service, being the one that is anticipating the man's needs, and this makes this problem far worse when you start stepping into that stuff. But regardless, what you're doing is you are energetically in the leading role. You're in the masculine role. And before we really dive into this topic, it's important to do a refresher for my subscribers who've been following me for some time. And if this is your first video, then this will be a bit of a crash course on masculine and feminine energy. So at its core, masculine energy is leading and giving, right? It is giving leadership, it is giving care, it's giving affection, it's giving protection. It's the one that is proactively leading towards an outcome. It is giving an outcome, and ideally those outcomes are in like kind outcomes, loving outcomes, right? So if a man were to plan a date for you, he's giving, right? He is using his time and his energy to plan that date and to make all of that happen for you. And he's the one that's initiating all of that. If there's a problem in the relationship, if there's something that he notices is off and he initiates and starts a conversation, it's like, hey, here's something that's happening, we're gonna work on it. He is giving his leadership. He might even step into the coaching role in some kind of way. And if he's, buys you a gift, that's another one, right? He's stepping into that giving role. So the masculine is leading, the masculine role is giving, and a big part of pretty much everything of what he's giving is his leadership. Okay, and you can think of this like a dance. Man's on the dance floor, he's leading every single step of the way. The other role is the receiver role, and this is supposed to be the woman's role. This is hardwiring we're talking about. We're not talking about cultural programming for anybody who's new here. We're talking about hardwired instinctual programming. which may very well be suppressed. It's very suppressed in many women today and many men today, but every man has this masculine instinct. Every woman has this feminine instinct. The feminine instinct is to receive, it's to open up, it's to let go, it is to follow leadership. Specifically, when a woman's in her self-worth, follow devoted leadership that is leading her on her behalf, to take care of her, to make her life easier, to bring her more joy, to bring her relaxation, to cherish her. That'd be kind of easy to follow, wouldn't it? If a man is leading with that level of care and consideration for your needs and for your feelings. So what that means is the man is being very active in this leadership, right? He is in the role where he is making things happen. And that means you are in the passive role. And understand, that doesn't mean you just do nothing and wait. You know, when we start talking about feminine communication, which I teach, which is pivotal to help women make the shifts they need to make to inspire the kind of devotion that they need, there is an active component to that, right? Like you can't just wait for a man to ask what's wrong. You need to share what's coming up for you. You need to share negative feelings. You need to share problems proactively. But in general, the feminine role is the receiver role. It is the passive role where you are passively receiving outcomes. You are passively receiving leadership. You're passively receiving care. You're opening yourself up to it. You're working through any resistance that you might have to it in some kind of way, protection mechanisms, and you are feeling the feelings that come up around that, hopefully lots of gratitude and happiness and relaxation, and you're sharing that. And that's all. This is one of the biggest mind screws, we'll call it, for women who have been conditioned into believing that their worth comes through what they do rather than who they are. The realization that they are already worthy of care. They don't need to be doing something to be worthy of that care. So what does that mean? It means you come into a relationship and you're, just by being you, like the real you, the you without guards or inhibitions or hiding your heart in any kind of way, the respectful you, the open you, that you is already worthy of a man who is financially providing for you, emotionally providing for you, being the one who is proactively leading towards solving any problems that come up, giving you advice and care and his time and his energy and his clarity and his reassurance and his affection and all of it. You are already worthy of all of that. I am pausing for emphasis. You are already worthy of that level of care. If only you knew it. If only you truly knew it. Not on a head level, which, you know, if you've been following me for some time, you probably already understand that on a head level. I'm talking about on a deeper body level, on the deepest body level. Because if you really understood it on that level, you'd already be receiving that level of care. The outer reflection that you're receiving would already be reflecting your inner reality, your inner belief systems, your inner self-worth that you have about yourself. But what happens for so many women is you were not taught in childhood and as well as in adulthood, due to various reasons, that you were intrinsically worthy, that you are worthy of being in the receiving role. You were taught that you needed to do more, be more than what you are, give more than what you are to be worthy of some level of care, and probably much less level of care than what I am describing. And so you start shifting into the giving role. So, and the giving role, that can also include performing, trying to excel in some way to be good enough. So in childhood, that's going to look like you starting to please, right? Do things for your parents, do things for others, not fully, truly out of the goodness of your heart, but to try to be good enough in some kind of way. And this can be very unconscious, right? There's many women out there, and I've seen it, I've experienced it, I've seen it with some clients where they don't even realize that their giving nature, or it's not their natural nature, but their giving patterns are not truly fully coming from a place of generosity. There's something deeper that's going on there, and it's stemming from a lack of worthiness. Because if we look at this on the surface, the giving role and the receiving role, and you look at that and you're like, how is that fair? How is it fair that the man is the one that's giving and doing all this stuff and I just get to receive everything? Isn't that a super imbalanced relationship? Now, you might think on some level, that sounds awesome. I'd love to be in the receiving role the whole time. And certainly to get out of the giving role that I'm often stuck in. But is that fair? How is that fair? It's fair. It's absolutely fair. When you understand the differences between men and women, the fundamental differences in our programming. So, for example, with me, in my marriage with my wife, I am in the giving role, and I don't want her to be in the giving role at all with me. That doesn't mean she doesn't do anything for me, right? She, cooks, she cleans, she does some other things, but it's through my leadership. So she's actually following my leadership. She's receiving my leadership to do those things. And I am financially providing for her. I am the one that is planning all of the dates, that's thinking and anticipating what she needs around the house and what she needs from me. I'm the one that's proactively resolving any kind of issues that come up in between us. And she is the one that is receiving that. So it's how is that fair? Well, if you understand a man's masculine instinct, you'd understand how it's fair. Number one, a masculine man, a man whose masculine instinct is online, he wants to lead, right? It feels good for him to be in that leader role. It feels good for him to be in the provider role. He enjoys giving to his woman, and he doesn't enjoy receiving from his woman, right? When it's the woman who's doing things for him or leading the relationship, the emotional load in some kind of way, through her own leadership rather than through his. That doesn't feel good for him. Does that feel good for a lot of emasculated men? Yes, it does on some level, because they have not found their responsibility. They have not tapped into their masculine instinct. But for a man who has tapped into his masculine instinct, at least somewhat, he's not going to really get much from a woman who's doing that. Now, what's interesting is, it's not, if a man's so if my wife started doing any of that stuff, any kind of planning dates or trying to think of anticipating my needs and doing nice things for me, or being the one that's carrying the emotional load to solve things, solve problems in our relationship in some way, or if she started proactively buying gifts for me or planning my birthday or anything like that, I would feel a very strong aversion to that. It would turn me off really quickly. That's because my masculine instinct is very much online. I'm very hypersensitive to it now. And I would, if she continued doing it and I didn't correct her and let her know this, don't do this, I would very quickly start to lose interest in the relationship and lose interest in her. I'd start to lose attraction for her. I'd lose connection for her. So of course, whenever she does, subtly step into that, I lovingly let her know what's going on and I show her what to do instead. And it's usually stemming from an anxiety or something in some kind of way. For a lot of men, though, their masculine instinct isn't fully online. It's partially online. So a woman doing these things will be somewhere between being slightly irritating to being not really a big deal at all. And so a man will allow a woman to be more in this kind of leading role, carrying a lot of the burdens in some way, doing it planning a lot of the stuff, because it's well, it's nice, it's easier, it's nice for my life to be a little bit easier, but it is actually going to make him lazier. It's actually going to make him more apathetic. It's going to cause him to be less interested in the relationship because he's not in the masculine role anymore. Men are inspired when they are in that masculine role, when they are in the leading role. They feel like leaders. They want to be doing more. They love being looked up to by their woman. They like to be seen as the hero. They like the gratitude that they're getting from the woman. And so they want to do more. They feel powerful. They feel strong. There's a feeling of rightness in some kind of way. The more that a woman starts doing stuff without the man leading her to do it in any kind of way, the more that the dynamic is shifting into like a mother-son relationship. Now, how much is a son typically attracted to his mother? Not very much. How much is a mother typically attracted to her son? Also not very much. If you have found yourself in that kind of dynamic before, how much fun are you having? How attracted are you to that dynamic and to that man? Probably less than what you could be. And you're participating in it. You're co-creating it because you don't realize how much you're contributing to it. And this is one of the really big things that I see with women. I see it much less so with women clients because they tend to be a lot more responsible, but in general I see it all the time. And by the way, before we talk about it, if you're liking this video so far, if you're getting a lot out of it, be sure to subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and make sure you give this video a like so that the algorithm can do its thing and find more women just like you who need this. So what women don't realize a lot of the time is how they are co-creating their situation by doing stuff, right? Like, I'll just give a simple example, really simple example. Let's say that you guys are going on vacation. Like, you're in a relationship. This can happen earlier on in dating as well. But let's say you're in a relationship and you're going on a vacation, or you're going on something, or it could even just be a date. And you're like, okay, I don't know what's happening. You know, he's not really stepping up to take care of everything. I'm starting to feel anxious. And the last time this happened, nothing got done, and then we were really late, and then all these problems happened, and you know, we almost missed our plane, or we missed our reservation, or whatever. And then you start feeling this fear. And then this fear starts compelling you into the giving role. You're now planning. You're now doing stuff. You're making the things happen. And on one level, you might be looking at that and be like, well, I'm just helping. Like, I'm doing it because it needs to happen. Otherwise, nothing's going to get done. No, what you are doing is you are enabling. This is a very important word, enabling. Women enable all the time. And understand, I'm not putting the blame on you here. It's like, oh, the man's innocent. No, he's being a lazy piece of crap. That's a problem. Like, that's absolutely a big issue. And if I was talking to that man, I'd be like, hey, you're being lazy. You're being apathetic. You're letting your woman down. This is not cool. We got to shift this. Why is this happening? Let's talk about it. But I'm not talking to men right now. I'm talking to you. And you have a part to play in this as well. And the part that you are playing is how you are enabling his laziness by being in the giving role. Whenever you do anything for him, whenever you're leading in any kind of way, when he didn't explicitly direct you to do so, and even that can be a problem sometimes, but that's for a different video. If he's not directing you to do it, you're definitely in that leading role. You're definitely in that mothering role. And you're going to be pushing him away. You're going to be making him more apathetic. Even if he likes it in some kind of way, you're still going to be causing problems. So step one is to just stop. It's to stop doing what you're doing. Start doing a lot more nothing. Of course, if you have children, that's a little bit more challenging. And it's much more challenging if you have a man who is acting like a child on top of it. You know, you're not going to let your children starve to death. But you need to let go of anything that doesn't truly need to be done, especially done for him or done for the two of you in any kind of way. It's almost like you're going on strike. It's like, I am going on strike from this giving role. I'm not going to be in it anymore. The pay sucks. The appreciation sucks. The hours are really long. I'm not built for it as a woman. I'm going on strike. Now, Don't actually go into it with that kind of attitude. That would be a really big problem, because what you're doing there is, it would be more like kind of a boundary, kind of like a punishment. It's like, no, I'm not doing anything for you anymore. You just got to figure this stuff out. No, you definitely do not want to do that. It's not going to inspire him. And there's so many situations of women that just stop doing stuff, and it's not enough to inspire a man to step up. For some men who are much more masculine, yeah, they will step up. But for a lot of relationships, a lot of women, they do it, and the man is just lazy. Which is why you need two things, actually. Three things. You need to stop enabling, number one. You need to start using feminine communication to communicate what's coming up for you. And you need to be willing to flow away from the dynamic, flow away from the relationship. And I'm going to harp on this over and over again. It's not something I've harped on enough recently in a lot of videos. I've focused more on the feminine communication stuff. You got to ask for help, right? Like, you're asking for help with your feelings. May I have some help with my feelings? May I have help with my anxiety? Whatever. You're sharing what the feeling is. You're using I feel statements. You're sharing what the problem is. Not blaming him or judging him in any kind of way. All the feminine communication I've taught in aspects in different videos. And then you see what happens, right? Does he step up, or does he remain apathetic? If he remains apathetic, well, his needs are going to start to get unmet as well. But the thing is, if you are not in your self-worth as a woman, if you can't feel your self-worth, he's going to typically remain lazy. Men don't want to really be in the giving role for women who don't value themselves, who don't recognize their value, who don't see their worth, who are not acting on their worth. And I'll tell you, if you're in the giving role, you are definitely not in your self-worth at all. Right? You definitely have a lot of self-worth issues, which can be shifted, right? These don't need to be permanent, but right now you've got a lot of self-worth issues that you got to look at. Because a woman who's fully in her self-worth, there is no way that she's going to step into the giving role. She's just not going to do it, because she knows that's not her role. She knows on the deepest level that she deserves and needs to receive only. She knows that a man is disrespecting her and not considering her when he's not stepping into the giving role. And she's not going to have a problem with just leaving a man like that. So many women, they get, addicted and attached to a man because you fall for him, and all these great qualities, and if only I could change this thing, if only he would change that thing, he would be amazing. Yeah, but guess what? Your self-worth is more important. Your self-respect is more important. That must always come first. One of the biggest things women are doing wrong in their love lives is they're not putting their self-respect first. They're not putting their self-worth first. They're not treating themselves as worthy. So why would you expect a man to treat you as worthy? It's just not going to happen, or it's not going to happen sustainably. It might happen temporarily, but eventually the flip is going to happen, and you're going to get that external reflection, which is being treated as unworthy. A man who's being lazy and just kind of expecting you to be more in the giving role. When you are fully in your self-worth, what happens is a man feels your worth. He feels your value. He feels how amazing you really are. And then he wants to treat you that way. It becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the way that you are going to, it's like, you're going to show this value, you're going to show your worth, but without trying to do it. Because if you're trying to do it, guess what? That's just manipulation. Whenever you're trying to do anything with feminine communication or just trying to be feminine, that's manipulation. That's not feminine, which would actually make it energetically masculine. Because whenever you're trying to get an outcome, you are in the leading role. You are trying to get outcomes. You're creating outcomes. You're giving outcomes. And sometimes those outcomes are quite manipulative. So being in the giving role, it's kind of like shifts into this taking role. But just to keep things really simple, for the sake of this video, it's like you're in the giving role, giving manipulative outcomes that you want, trying to extract attention or his labor or something by not being fully in integrity with yourself. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, you need to stop doing that. You need to learn that you are enough. You need to learn to be able to walk away no matter what. Because as soon as you're able to do that, things are going to shift for you big time. one of the things that I really see in my academy program with women, and we get a huge range of women, right? Some have no problem just walking away very quickly from a lot of men. Others, it's just really challenging. All of them have tons of issues with communication. All of them have issues with self-worth. It just manifests differently. And we're shifting all of it by teaching them feminine communication, shifting them how to let go of control, and shifting how to fully be in their body, feel their feelings fully, and let go. And one of the big things that I see that shifts over time for a lot of women is they are learning. It's so hot in here. It's like a sauna. I think it's like 35 degrees. I'm sweating. Don't know if you can see it on camera. Is that they are learning to stop tolerating stuff that they shouldn't tolerate. Like, it is just amazing the kind of stuff that women tolerate. And I want you to stop tolerating so much. Like, literally, after this video, or even just pause this video for a moment, don't close it, but just pause it and make a list for 5 minutes. A list of all the things that you're doing and tolerating that you shouldn't be tolerating. I'm telling you, like literally follow this directive. Don't ignore it, because it's actually going to help you. When you really start to see it, when you put it on paper or when you put it on a Word document or whatever, you're going to start to understand, man, I am dishonoring myself all the time. I'm just being in this giving role that just doesn't really feel good for me. I don't want it. I know it doesn't feel good. I don't enjoy it. How did I end up here? Or how did I end up here in this past relationship? Well, you ended up there because you don't have the self-worth to stay fully in your feminine role, in the receiving role. You learned that you are not worthy enough being in that receiving role all the time. And so to get the love and care and devotion that you need, you tried to be more. You tried to be worthy enough when you were already worthy and you didn't even realize it. And then it ends up creating a situation where men actually treat you as less. Isn't that tragically funny? So women over time in our program, they start shifting this. And they're shifting it because, number one, they're starting to really feel their feelings on a deeper level. There's a lot of women who are not even in touch with what they're feeling. There's so much up here. If you are up here all the time, I can guarantee you're not in your feminine self-worth. There's zero chance of it. Zero chance. Because your self-worth is in here. It's in your heart. And if you are not connected to your heart, you are not connected to your self-worth. If you are not able to feel all of your feelings all the time and flow with your feelings, you are not in your self-worth. And that doesn't mean you can't cry or like feel feelings. But most women are feeling feelings from up here. Like when you have a breakup with a man, are you fully in your heart feeling those feelings? Or are you up in your head, telling yourself pity stories or self-blame stories? As an example, right? Or it could be anything where you're doing that. Self-pity stories, blame stories, you're blaming yourself, you're blaming him. Regret stories, fear stories. Whenever you're in stories in your head, you're not in your self-worth. And that might sound kind of shocking to you. It's like, oh my God, I'm always in my head. Yeah, and guess what? So are most women. And is it any wonder that most women are struggling in their love lives so much? It's because they're not in their self-worth. And this isn't your fault. This is such a, not even Western, it is a global tragedy. All over the world, this is happening. Women are not in their self-worth. They're not connected to their feelings. They're not connected to their heart. They don't realize on the deepest level how much their feelings matter, how important they truly are, how beautiful they are. They judge their feelings. They push those feelings aside. They distract from their feelings. They gaslight their own feelings. It's horrible. And I know this is true because I help women with this every day. I see the extent of it. I see the extent of the damage that is done to you in childhood by your parents. Probably well-intentioned parents, but flawed parents nonetheless, who are causing all of this trauma and dysfunction in yourself. And then it just gets worse typically as you grow up. You get high school, that's going to totally ruin most 14, 15, 16-year-old girls. You get into university or college, that's going to screw you up more. And you have boyfriends, they're going to screw you up more. Everybody is screwing you up. This is a world that screws up women. I mean, it screws up men too. I'm not just saying this is a woman problem. Men are getting horribly screwed today. Men and women like have always been screwed, and there's always been a war on both men and women. It's never been about like men screwing over women, though in many ways it has looked like that, but men have actually suffered too. I would say historically speaking, women have suffered more because of the dynamic, the lack of power that they have in the, towards government, towards their man, all of that stuff, towards their families that are not fully devotional to them. And then even today, men are getting screwed in like disproportionately in family court and in certain aspects of the legal system. And so many single guys say they can't get a man, and women don't want to date men that are more than 3 inches taller than less than 3 inches taller than them, and tons of problems with that. But then you look at the problem that women have, right? Like, women are not taught today to learn how to attract a man in their early 20s, and then you end up in your 30s, or one of two things happens. Either you don't learn how to attract a man when you're in your 20s, and then the pool of eligible men, of masculine men, goes way down, and then you don't have the skills to attract the few men that are actually out there that could take care of you. Or you do attract a man, you're not taught how to show up in a relationship. It ends up being a toxic man, a narcissist, a lazy, apathetic bum, all kinds of possibilities, or just like a normal, okay kind of guy, but you have no idea how to relate to him. You don't understand your role, and you end up sabotaging it. So you sabotage it together. It's also his responsibility. But the end result is, okay, now you're what? I mean, most of my audience is going to be in their 30s, 40s, some older, some a little bit younger. I mean, we do have some women in their early 20s or even under 20 in our academy, but it's a minority for sure. But anyway, 30s, 40s, and it's like, okay, I'm screwed now. You have been screwed over. I want you to understand that. You have been badly screwed over, and that is not your fault. It is your responsibility now to shift it, right? Like, if you don't continue watching my videos and continue seeking help and, ideally working with me in my academy program, but if not that, at least like get my other resources, my dating course, my books, my masterclass, all that kind of stuff, and start learning this and start moving through your fear to shift it, start moving through your different trauma patterns, learn how to fully feel your feelings, how to sit with your feelings, love your feelings, learn feminine communication, all that stuff. That's all your responsibility now. You're aware of it. It's like, okay, you're this far in this video, whether you've watched 50 others from me or not, or whether this is your first one, you now have that responsibility, absolutely, because you are now aware. You're aware that you've been screwed over through no fault of your own, and now you know that there actually is a solution if you prioritize it, if you decide that you want to have a better relationship, better love life, the relationship of your dreams, a healthy masculine man, and an amazing relationship with yourself, where you're always in the receiving role. You're letting go, you're surrendering. You're not trying to control things. You're not trying to be enough for anybody. You know that you're already enough. That is now your responsibility to shift. And that can be heavy for some women, but it can also be very liberating. It should be liberating, because there's a solution to your pain. There's a solution to your suffering. And that's polarity. That's learning to be the feminine woman that you really are. Underneath your fear, underneath your control patterns, underneath trying to be enough, underneath your mothering tendencies, your being in the giving role, trying to be worthy of a man in whatever way. You just need to unlock that woman inside of you. Isn't that beautiful that you can do that? Now, before we really wrap things up, I'm just going to briefly talk about, if you were interested in getting my support, how you can do that. So what we do in our academy is we help women make all these shifts, help them shift fully into their self-worth, teach them feminine communication, learn how to fully connect with their feelings, all of this amazing stuff, so you can have your dream man. Either inspire him because you already got a man, or attract him if you're single. If you're interested in finding out more and potentially booking a call with me, go below this video, open up the description, click on relationshipyourdreams.com, watch the video there. It's about a 10-minute video, and then book a call with me. Then we'll talk all about what's going on in your love life, what the problems are. We'll talk about how to shift it. We'll find out if working with us makes sense, if we can get you the kind of results that we expect. And it's a really fun call. I have a lot of fun I think everybody else has a lot of fun too. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. We'll decide if we can help you create the relationship of your dreams. It's free, so like, what's the downside risk? If you can feel the resonance to what I'm talking about, you want to be this kind of woman, you want to have that kind of relationship, well, it's 100% up to you at that point. You just book that call. So that's relationshipyourdreams.com. Now, what you need to be doing, even if you decide not to work with us now or work with us ever, your job is to recognize that as a feminine woman, and every woman is feminine, right? You might not be showing up in a feminine way a lot of the time because of your fears, and your low self-worth is going to make you much more masculine. Even if you kind of appear feminine, you're going to be trying to get outcomes all the time because you don't realize deep down that those outcomes are going to come to you if you just stop controlling. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where you don't get the good outcomes. So you need to recognize, yeah, this is my role. I am meant to be feminine. I am worthy of being feminine. I don't have to try to get any outcomes to get my needs met in any kind of way. And then you need to start shifting your behaviors. Look at all the ways that you're giving and enabling. Stop doing that. Stop it. Stop right now. Stop with the next man or stop with the current man. And it's going to be hard. Like, if these shifts were easy to make, there wouldn't be many women that would be working with us in our academy program. One of the big reasons that they do is because it's so difficult to make these shifts. It's very scary and uncomfortable. Because if you live basically your entire life believing that a lot of your value is coming from what you can do for a man, being more in the giving role, and then you start letting all of that go, you stop doing that, it's going to bring up a lot of fears. And you're going to kind of be compelled to keep giving. And then if you are brave enough to actually resist that fear and you don't do it, well, guess what? The challenge only really just started. Because the much harder part is to use feminine communication, to communicate what's coming up for you, to open yourself up and share your fears, to open up your heart and expose it with a man fully. Whether this is a first date or whether this is a 50-year relationship, marriage, doesn't matter. This is who you are. This is how you're supposed to be showing up. This is how you're supposed to be communicating. And that's part of being in the receiving role. Because understand what a man is doing. Like, if you feel my energy right now, I'm energetically penetrating you. I've been penetrating you this whole time with love, with care. But I'm trying to get an outcome with you. I'm trying to help you understand. I'm also trying to reassure you, make sure that you know you're valued, that I care about you, that you're worthy just in general. I'm trying to give you a whole bunch of outcomes. So I'm leading you energetically. But feminine communication and being vulnerable, it's not about leading in any way. It's not about trying to get any kind of outcomes. You're expressing just to express, which means that you are receiving. So you're expressing to express, which inspires care from a man, leadership from a man, energetic penetration from a man who starts leading in the way that I do, giving you that reassurance, giving you that love, giving you that care, that clarity, whatever it is that you need, giving you acts of service, spending more time with you, giving you the affection that you need. Your job is not to lead him to do any of that. It's just to express what's coming up for you vulnerably. It's going to inspire him without you trying to inspire him. And then he starts giving you those outcomes. And then you start sharing how that impacts you. That's what the receiving role is meant to do. That's all you've got to do. And it sounds so simple, but it's so damn hard. Because it's scary and because you don't actually have the language. You might have little bits and pieces from my other videos and from this video, but for the most part, you don't have the language. And so you're going to try, and then you're often going to get negative outcomes, not the outcomes that you're expecting, and then he's not going to step up, and then you're going to feel like wanting to give up, and then it makes it so much harder. And this is why the most important thing that you can do, part of being that receiver, is to tap in. Like, if you can feel what I am talking about, Just as an example, like when you share, like, oh, I feel really sad, and you're not trying to get any outcome from a man in any way. You're just expressing to express that feeling of like, oh, this is so vulnerable, and I'm also not trying to lead, I'm not penetrating in any way. That's the feeling of feminine communication. I discovered feminine communication in my relationship. It took me years to put the pieces together, but I basically paid attention to my wife for years and focused on, okay, what actually turns me on? What actually inspires me? What makes me want to be a better man for her? What makes me want to do the thing that she's wanting me to do? Because it's definitely not coming from people pleasing or obligation. I can feel that in myself, and I'm not really much of a people pleaser. So I needed to be truly inspired. And I started recognizing patterns and seeing like, oh, this is what really activates me as a man. And then I put them together into a system, and then I started teaching it in my academy program for women. And then we started refining it. It wasn't just me, it was my entire team that I built that started to refine this and learning from the women as well what felt good and what didn't feel good. And then after years of work, that it's feminine communication, and it works amazingly well. This is the big game changer, and it's the only game changer that's going to help you fully shift all of this. You can't do it without feminine communication, but that's the scariest part, because it requires you being so vulnerable, so open to rejection or perceived rejection, to abandonment or perceived abandonment. And that's why, one of the main reasons why so many women give up. Don't give up. Do not ever give up on yourself. You can do this. I 100% believe in you. At the very least, keep going through my videos, keep learning this, keep understanding it, start applying it, continue to apply it, and don't stop. And then at the very best, if you can really resonate with this, if you are really resonating with this, if everything is making sense, if you can feel, yeah, this is the answer, and you can also feel on some level, I really want to work with this guy. This Zach Brody guy, he's onto something, and I feel this safety, and I feel this ease and openness and all these good feelings. I really want to know what this program is all about. I want to see how he can help me. Well, if that's you, book that call. Go to relationshipyourdreams.com, watch the video, book the call. I'll see you there. We're going to have a fantastic time, and I cannot wait to speak with you, genuinely. I just want to help you create the relationship of your dreams. You need it. You deserve it. Let's make it happen. That's it for this one.